Have you ever wondered about the lives of Afro-Germans during the tumultuous times of World War II? This question brings us to an exploration of an often overlooked facet of history, the experiences of Afro-Germans in an era marked by conflict and upheaval. Their stories, their struggles, their resilience in the face of adversity weave a narrative that is as compelling as it is poignant. As we delve into this chapter of history, we open a window into their world, their lives, and the impact of a war that changed everything. Let's journey back in time and shed light on a chapter of history that remains largely untold. To understand the Afro-German experience during the war, we must first look at their lives before the conflict erupted. The roots of the Afro-German community stretch back to the 1720s, when Anton Wilhelm Amo, an African, stepped into the halls of a European university. This remarkable event marked the beginning of a complex and challenging journey for Afro-Germans. As time passed, the relationship between Germany and Africa evolved. During the colonial period, Africans were forcibly transported to Germany. Some were enslaved, while others were brought in for education. This migration marked the beginning of a significant Afro-German presence in the country, particularly in urban centers like Hamburg and Frankfurt. Life for Afro-Germans during this period was far from easy. They were often seen as outsiders, alien in a land that was not their own. Despite the challenges, they persevered. They built lives, formed communities, and contributed to the German society in their own unique ways. However, as the 20th century surged forward, the winds of change began to blow. The rise of the Nazi regime brought with it a new wave of discrimination and persecution, specifically targeted at those deemed racially impure. The Afro-German community, already accustomed to a certain degree of prejudice, now found themselves in the crosshairs of a much more dangerous threat. The Nazi era saw Afro-Germans facing not only societal discrimination, but also systemic persecution. This included forced sterilization, a horrific violation of human rights aimed at preventing the birth of biracial children. It was a stark reminder of the ideology that underpinned the Nazi regime, one that sought racial purity at any cost. As the world stood on the brink of war, the Afro-German community, already facing discrimination, was about to enter a dark period. Little did they know that the struggles they had faced until then were merely a precursor to the horrors that lay ahead. With the rise of the Nazi regime, the lives of Afro-Germans took a drastic and horrifying turn. The Nazis, with their perverse ideology of racial purity, targeted all non-Aryan communities, and Afro-Germans were no exception. Their existence was seen as a threat to the supposed racial purity of the German population. During the Holocaust, Afro-Germans faced extreme discrimination and persecution. They were denied their basic human rights and were subjected to a life of fear and uncertainty. They lived in constant fear of arbitrary arrest, and many were forced into labor camps, where they endured harsh and inhumane conditions. One of the most chilling aspects of the Nazi regime's treatment of Afro-Germans was the policy of forced sterilization. This policy was part of the Nazis' effort to prevent the birth of any more Rhineland bastards, a derogatory term used by the Nazis to refer to children born of German mothers and French African colonial troops during the occupation of the Rhineland after the First World War. These forced sterilizations were carried out without the consent of the individuals involved, and often without their knowledge. They were performed under the guise of routine medical procedures or even under the threat of internment. This brutal practice aimed to systematically eliminate what the Nazis considered an inferior race. As to the question of execution and castration, the historical records are less clear. While there is evidence of individual Afro-Germans being murdered by the Nazis, there are no official records of mass executions. Similarly, while forced sterilizations were common, there are no documented cases of widespread castration of Afro-German males. However, it's important to note that the absence of official records does not mean these atrocities did not occur. The Nazis were notorious for their meticulous record-keeping, but they also went to great lengths to hide their crimes, particularly as the end of the war approached, and it became clear that they would be held accountable. What we do know for certain is that the Afro-German community suffered greatly under the Nazi regime. Their lives were marked by fear, discrimination, and violence. They were stripped of their dignity, their freedom, and in many cases, their lives. The horrifying experiences of Afro-Germans during the Holocaust left lasting scars, but their story does not end there. In the aftermath of the war, a new chapter began in the lives of Afro-Germans. The nation, left devastated and fragmented, was now a canvas where a new society was to be painted, and the Afro-German community was part of this transformation. The end of World War II saw the arrival of the American troops to Germany, amongst whom were many African Americans. Relationships developed between these soldiers and German women, leading to the birth of a new generation of biracial Afro-German children. This was a significant era in the history of Afro-Germans, as their population saw a considerable increase. However, the journey was not without its challenges. These children, often referred to as brown babies, found themselves in a society that was still grappling with the remnants of prejudice and discrimination. Being both German and African American, they straddled two worlds, yet felt fully accepted in neither. They faced a unique set of struggles, from identity crises to societal rejection, but it was also a period of triumphs. The hardships faced by these children did not deter them from carving out their own identities. They grew up to be a resilient generation that played a crucial role in shaping the Afro-German community. Prominent figures emerged from this group, contributing significantly to literature, activism, and cultural life of the Afro-German community. They became the voice of the Afro-Germans and advocated for their rights, paving the way for future generations. This period was indeed a turning point for the Afro-German community, marking the beginning of their journey towards recognition and acceptance. It was a testament to their resilience and determination as they rose from the devastation of the war and began to establish their place in the German society. From the ashes of the war, the Afro-German community emerged stronger, resilient, and ready to carve out their place in society. The journey of Afro-Germans through history is a testament to human resilience and strength. This story, spanning centuries, is one that has been written in the face of adversity, discrimination, and hardship. In the years leading up to World War II, Afro-Germans faced a life of uncertainty. The first African to attend a European university, Anton Wilhelm Amo, marked a significant milestone in the 1720s. However, the colonial period saw a dark chapter unfold as Africans were forcibly brought to Germany, either as slaves or for education. During the Holocaust, the Afro-German community was subjected to unimaginable horrors. The Nazi regime's discriminatory policies led to widespread persecution, including forced sterilization. The Afro-Germans, despite being a small fraction of the population, were not spared from this brutal reality. Yet, it is in the aftermath of the war that we see a remarkable display of resilience. Biracial Afro-German children, born to African American soldiers and German women, represented a new chapter for the community. These children and the adults they would become carried the weight of their history while forging a path towards a more inclusive future. In the 1980s, Audre Lorde played a pivotal role in promoting the Afro-German movement, igniting a new wave of activism and awareness. Notable figures like May Ayim made significant contributions to literature and activism, enriching the cultural life of Afro-Germans. The journey of Afro-Germans serves as a potent reminder of history's darker chapters, but it also stands as a testament to the indomitable spirit of a community that refused to be defined by its past. Through their resilience and strength, Afro-Germans have carved out their place in history, leaving a legacy that continues to inspire. Let this serve as a reminder of the power of resilience and the importance of remembering all facets of our shared history, no matter how painful they may be. The experiences of Afro-Germans during World War II offer valuable lessons for us today. It's a stark reminder that history isn't always as clear-cut as we might think. It's a mosaic of different narratives, some of which are painful to revisit, yet absolutely essential to our understanding of the past and how it shapes the present. The Afro-German community, despite the horrors they faced, showed us the power of resilience. Their capacity to endure, to survive, and then to thrive is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. It's a lesson in the power of resilience in the face of adversity, but it's also a wake-up call. A call to acknowledge and confront the racism and discrimination that still exists in our societies today. A call to remember that our shared history is a shared responsibility. As we reflect on the journey of the Afro-Germans, let's remember that the struggle for equality and justice is far from over. The fight against racism and discrimination requires constant vigilance and action. Let's learn from the past, so we can strive to create a more inclusive and equitable future. By remembering and learning from the past, we can ensure that the lessons of history are not forgotten, but used as a guide to navigate the path towards a better tomorrow.